We all learn about the solar system in elementary school, and for many of us, that's where the education stops. So it shouldn't come as a surprise if the word exoplanet is a new term to you. It's a fairly new term in astronomy in general, but it's one that experts say will become a household name in the near future. Maybe once your children begin to learn about them in their own elementary education. An exoplanet refers to a planet that is in orbit around a star other than our own Sun. The first of these exoplanets was discovered only 23 years ago in 1995. In total, 6 exoplanets were discovered that year. Fast forward to 2018, and astronomers have discovered 4,000 exoplanets in the Milky Way, and that number is growing fast.
But we have plenty more coming because they launched a new satellite called TESS that will surely find about 20,000 more exoplanets during the next few years.
That's astronomist Dr. Donald Goldsmith, author of Exoplanets, Hidden Worlds and the Quest for Extraterrestrial Life, published by Harvard University Press. Goldsmith is an award-winning astronomer, having won awards from the American Institute of Physics and the American Astronomical Society, and he's president of Interstellar Media.
The first exoplanet to be discovered is a big, fat exoplanet, much like our planet Jupiter, only bigger, because those are easier to find. By now, we have a whole range of exoplanets, including some as small as the Earth that we found. Earth 2.0 is a familiar name for finding an exoplanet very much like our Earth, and we have found some resembling our Earth. As time goes on, we'll find planets that even more resemble our Earth. So it's kind of a fun chase where every few years or even more often they get to say in astronomy, oh, we found a planet even more like our Earth. We call it Earth 2.0. But there'll never be a perfect duplicate, at least we don't think so. You have to duplicate the temperature, the composition, the atmosphere, maybe the people, but we are not going that far.
Goldsmith says astronomers would, of course, love to find life on these planets, but that is a highly complex undertaking, and not something we anticipate will be very easy to accomplish.
If you're talking about life that can't communicate, that doesn't use radio waves or something like that, which is a separate search, you'd have to look for the right conditions for life, such as finding a planet whose atmosphere resembled our Earth or that had water on its surface. Even there, we're not totally sure that's what you need for life, and we're certainly not sure it makes life certain to exist. We call intelligence in the astronomy community the ability to communicate, because that would be much easier to find. We have powerful radio telescopes that could, at least in theory, separate natural radio noise from that used by a civilization such as ours. But of course, we don't know. Maybe an intelligent civilization would long since have used everything by cable television, not be broadcasting even accidentally. Maybe they don't use radio waves or television at all. So these searches, like the search for life itself, are tricky, and you're not really sure what to search for.
So far, researchers can only speculate about life on other planets, but they agree that life, whether intelligent or not, is certainly a possibility.
We have nothing special about our Earth. Now that we've found all these exoplanets, we certainly know that planets are not rare, and even Earth-like planets are not rare. But the real question is, okay, suppose you've got an Earth-like planet, how likely is it you find life? And if so, how likely is it that life eventually, it took billions of years on Earth, will develop intelligence? We don't know. We need to find at least one more example of life to figure out how prevalent life is, and we need at least one more example of an intelligent civilization before we can answer the second question. Because when you have only a single example, our life on Earth and our intelligent life on Earth, as we call it, it's very hard to generalize.
Goldsmith says the big exoplanets, those that are most similar to our Jupiter, are easiest for researchers to find because their gravity pulls on the stars they orbit, which makes those stars wobble back and forth. Goldsmith says this is an indirect means of finding exoplanets.
We have yet to see really any planets directly, except a very few big planets far from their stars where we get one dim little pixel of light. All the planets otherwise are found indirectly by studying their stars. But we do understand planets because once we found them, for example, in one case, one method, by when they pass in front of their stars, we can see the diminution or decrease in starlight. We can also find out about their atmospheres because they change the colors of light from the starlight. So we actually have many cases now where we know that planets have atmospheres, and we even know something about what those atmospheres contain.
But can you actually see a star wobble in the sky? No, not directly, and therein lies the rub. Astronomic research can be astronomically boring and dry. Many of these discoveries are totally inaccessible to the non-scientific community.
Lots of science proceeds through these boring applications of hard work, repetitive hard work, and this is a very good example where you have to study and study. Nowadays, a lot of it is automated, but nonetheless, you gather data for years, you study it in computers, and it reveals indirectly the presence, for example, of exoplanets. But the day-by-day operation is extremely boring. We shouldn't lose sight of the fact, though, that's what you need to create wonderful results.
And some of those results we get to see on the big screen with the flashy help of Hollywood. Case in point, the 2014 film Interstellar from director Christopher Nolan, starring Matthew McConaughey, Anne Hathaway, and Jessica Chastain, that won an Academy Award for Best Visual Effects.
That was nicely based on what we might call scientific speculation. The wormhole concept that you could use falling into a black hole to fall out somewhere else in the universe is highly untested, highly speculative, and yet hardly disproven. Of course, you might not survive the trip, but that's something else. And that is a very good example, thanks to the great consultant they had, Kip Thorne, the Nobel Prize winner at Caltech, of a movie that's more or less based on actual, if not true fact, at least possible fact. Of course, those movies are built in large part on speculation, imagination, and just plain violation of some of the laws of science, but they're still a lot of fun, and they're important, too. The fact is, because science is fairly dry, to get people interested in science, you have to tease their imagination, and it's worth making a few little mistakes, as it were, to create a great story that will get people interested, and later they can learn, and it's kind of fun to learn, which are the true facts and which are the fake facts, as it were, about, say, Star Trek or the movie or anything like that.
However, Goldsmith says there's a huge difference between speculating on such matters and proving them to be demonstrable fact.
We've discovered a fantastic range of planets. Who knows what remains to be discovered? We have planets in positions and situations we never really thought would happen. Not that they were impossible, we just hadn't thought of them. And there'll be more like that. There's no reason why we couldn't find a planet almost anything like you could dream of, with anything like the creatures you care to imagine. It's only that there's a huge important difference between speculation and demonstrable fact, which is what science is all about.
So, if there is intelligent life out there, is it really possible that they could one day find us on our tiny planet and actually reach out to contact us?
Oh, definitely. First of all, we're just an ordinary planet, of course, pretty much. But if they have techniques equal to ours and study the sun, they'll find Jupiter first, but they'd find all of our planets before long if they have our abilities. Secondly, of course, if they're listening, they'd find all our broadcasts, both the stuff that's accidentally leaked into space and the few messages deliberately sent out. But imagine all this television and radio that's been going on for the best part of 90 years, going farther and farther from Earth, passing already thousands of stars and their planets. Who knows what they figured out about life on Earth? They might be disgusted or overwhelmed with our importance.
Of course, first contact would be a mammoth global event, one that's also been imagined in popular Hollywood films like Arrival and Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Goldsmith speculates on what first contact might be like in real life.
For example, if we got a message saying we're coming for a visit, would it unite us or divide us? Would the religious people each want to force their religion on the new guys? Or would we all get together and say we've got to put a good face on Earth? Who knows? It hasn't happened yet. But someday it might be a real issue. You don't need to travel in person, much as we like to do that in the movies. If you can send information, including all the pictures and movies you could generate, which is much cheaper and faster, that would be good enough in most cases. You don't really need to press the flesh, which might be dangerous. That all we've been learned in these past decades of finding exoplanets is that the Earth is one of billions of planets in the Milky Way galaxy, because it's very likely that most stars, or half the stars, have planets, and there are hundreds of billions of them in our galaxy. And there's a huge variety of planets, but there's no reason to think the Earth is so special. It's an old human failing to think that we're the center of the universe, we're something wonderful about us. Not knocking the human race, I'm very fond of it. But it's quite possible that there are thousands and thousands of places, if not more, where life exists and has developed something vaguely akin to humans.
For further insight into the research behind exoplanets and what scientists could someday find on such a planet, Dr. Donald Goldsmith's book, Exoplanets, Hidden Worlds and the Quest for Extraterrestrial Life, is available now. For more on Goldsmith and all of our guests, visit our website at viewpointsonline.net. You can find an archive of past programs there and on iTunes and Stitcher. You can find us on Twitter @ViewpointsRadio. Our writer-producer for this segment is Polly Henson. I'm Gary Price.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-568-1647. That's 800-568-1647. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-568-1647.
What are you going to do with your old car? You can try selling it, you could junk it, or you can donate it to Heritage for the Blind. Your car will be towed away for free and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-835-1478. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats. It doesn't matter if your vehicle runs or not. It will be towed away for free, and you'll be supporting those that need help. Heritage for the Blind is a nonprofit organization that helps the visually impaired live fuller lives. Call right now to donate your car, and as a special thank you, you'll receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to over 50 locations. Call Heritage for the Blind right now. Call 1-800-835-1478. Donating is easy, and your vehicle is towed away for free. Plus, you'll get a free vacation voucher for donating. Call now, 1-800-835-1478. That's 1-800-835-1478.
And that's Viewpoints for this week. Viewpoints is a production of MediaTrax Communications. You can follow us on Twitter and Facebook to learn about upcoming shows and find a library of past programs on iTunes. Plus, you'll always find podcasts of our segments and information about our guests at viewpointsonline.net. Join us again next week for your public affairs magazine, Viewpoints.